Mr. Squidward, welcome to the night shift.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Night Shift Part 1 Open Forum and Final Four recap, and we're going to preview the National Championship game for you tomorrow on the Night Shift Part 2. That will be tomorrow. We're going to recap the Final Four, and then we're going to preview tomorrow the National Championship game between Kansas and North Carolina. And I'm with Isaiah Leong today, as this is our Open Forum. We're going to talk everything we want today, but Isaiah, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Loro. I'm doing much better than I was yesterday, because yesterday I was just so tired. And I'm surprised I even got through the show, but feeling much better. I'm feeling energized, and I'm actually really excited for tonight's program because it's our first ever open forum night. It's an idea that we got from the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. Shout out to our guys, Adam, Jason, and all the guys over there. But it's an idea that we got from them. You, the fans, get to ask me and Loro whatever questions that you guys want, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, hockey. You can even ask us that. TMZ style sports, you guys can even ask us that. Ask us anything sports related, and we're gonna be here to answer your questions, talk about the topics that you guys want to talk about. It's basically like your guys's program tonight, and we're just here to answer your guys' questions and talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. So I'm excited for it. I really am.
I am too. So let's start talking about the Final Four. We want to recap this for everybody out there. I mean, the first game, Kansas and Villanova, it was a blowout, but the game of the night was Duke and North Carolina. Isaiah, I'm going to have to give you your roses on this. You stuck with the team that was hot at the right time, and North Carolina beat Duke yet again, and they're playing Kansas in the national championship game, which we'll kind of talk about here a little bit today here and who we have winning that game. But there's going to be a lot to be talked about tomorrow on the night shift to be the day before the big college basketball national championship game. I hope everybody has their pizza on Monday and soda and beer, because Monday's game is going to be great. I cannot wait. And Wild Sports Talk will have a recap of that game on Monday night. Be sure to tune in for that. Isaiah, let's start with Duke. Let's start with Villanova and Kansas. Kansas was flat out dominant. Villanova had their chances to get back into this game, but Kansas kept pulling away. And I think Kansas, heading into the national championship game, that they have momentum right now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, before I get into that, I just want to tell our fans, we will get into your questions and your topics for us. Don't worry. Continue to flood our comment section with whatever topics, questions that you guys want to talk about. Make sure you guys keep it sports related. Don't venture outside of sports because it's like a sports open forum night. We will talk about them, but right now we're just going to break down the Final Four quickly. And recap it before we get into your questions and your comments. But in terms of this Villanova-Kansas game, I didn't really have a chance to watch the game live. I had a chance to see the highlights of the game. And from what I saw on the highlights, it really came down to, I just think that Villanova is an excellent defensive basketball team. But Kansas is just a much better basketball team offensively, and they were just firing on all cylinders today. And it was just one of those days where most of their shots were going in, and Villanova, who is a great defensive team, but they're not that good of an offensive team. They're a team that likes to slow it down, likes to play more of a half-court set type of a game. And, they just couldn't match Kansas. What they had to do was play their outstanding, excellent defense, keep it to like a 55-50 type of a ball game, and they would have a chance. But once it was like 70, or it was in the late 60s, 70 range, Villanova had no shot because Villanova just doesn't have the firepower outside of Gillespie to go toe-to-toe with someone if it's an offensive shootout. So their main where they stand is on the defensive side. And Kansas, I mean, they were playing really good defense, Villanova was, but Kansas was just knocking down excellent shots. And you got to tip your hat to Kansas. Their shots just managed to go in. And Villanova, they need to add more offensive firepower because if Jay Wright and crew really want to win another national championship, you need to have a great defense, but you also need to be able to score the basketball at a high level if you want to go and win a national championship. You can't just play great defense and expect the game to be like 50-40 or like 48-40. That's not how modern day college basketball works. It's not how modern day college basketball works. You just can't do that anymore. You have to be able to score the ball and keep pace with the opposing team, like the Kansases, like the Dukes, North Carolina, to say the least, if you want to have a shot at winning a national championship. And I give my hats to Kansas, I think, or I give my roses to Kansas. I think Kansas played an outstanding game. They're a really good offensive team, but they are also a good and underrated defensive team as well. And you saw that on the stage. And I think right now, if you had to ask me to bet my money, I think Kansas right now is the best team in college basketball. They're just well coached. They have a great offense, great defense. They got so many weapons on the offense to hurt you with, and their defense, like I mentioned earlier, is just flat out flawless.
It is. I mean, I think that we'll have to talk about who's going to win the national championship game on Monday. We have comments flooding in on that. But anyways, Isaiah, your wish came true. You stuck with North Carolina the entire tournament to go all the way. So, with North Carolina beating Duke, are you still sticking with North Carolina to win over Kansas?
Ask me tomorrow about my prediction because I definitely need to sleep on it after the games that happened tonight with North Carolina and Duke and Villanova and Kansas. Kansas looked outstanding, but North Carolina is a team that is red hot. They're playing together. Their offense, it's humming at the right time, and they are a great defensive team as well. So I expect a hell of a game. But in terms of this game, first of all, let me say this. What a great career by Coach Mike Krzyzewski. I think there was definitely a lot of people that were rooting for Coach K to go out on top. But the reason why I picked North Carolina was not because I did not like Coach K. In fact, I really respect Coach K. I think he's one of the best coaches to ever coach in sports, period. But when you look at North Carolina, they just remind me of the 2007 New York Giants or the 2012 Baltimore Ravens or the 2015 Golden State Warriors, where they probably weren't the most talented team in their sport or in their league. They just were together and they had great chemistry. And North Carolina, they showed their chemistry tonight. I mean, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but Armando Bacot had 11 points, and on the surface it might not seem like that was a lot, but look at the other stuff on the box score. 21 rebounds. He was getting after it on the glass and being that difference maker in the paint to help North Carolina win this game. There was number 45, I don't remember his name, but he was outstanding, especially being a stretch five and shooting the ball from behind the three-point line. I think this game just really came down to North Carolina in the clutch closing minutes, making their threes and making their free throws, and Duke not being able to make their free throws, not being able to make their three-point shots or their two-point shots late in the game. And that's what these close games always come down to. It always comes down to make shots or miss shots. And Duke missed their shots. They missed their free throws. I think they had like so many free throws, especially late down the stretch, that they just flat out missed, especially that center, Williams, when Duke was down 75-74, he is at the line to shoot a pair of free throws. He misses both, not just one. He misses both. And instead of it being a potential Duke lead or a Duke tie or tie game, North Carolina still regains or still has the lead. So I think that was a big turning point, was the missed free throws down the stretch by Duke really hurt this Blue Devil team.
It sure did. And I think that Duke just had like too many missed chances on making shots to get back into the game. But here's the thing. I'm confident that I think that Duke's going to get back to where they are going to be next year. I think that Jon Scheyer is going to do a great job coaching Duke. I mean, it's going to be a tough act to follow for Jon Scheyer to fill in for Mike Krzyzewski as the full-time head coach at Duke. But I do think that Jon Scheyer has what it takes to be really good. I think that he's going to do a phenomenal job with Duke heading into next season.
I think Duke fans should taper their expectations for Scheyer because he's a first-time head coach. You know, you can't expect him to be like Mike Krzyzewski. You know, Mike Krzyzewski was this level. Jon Scheyer is down here right now. You know, can't really expect much from him. You know, I know a lot of Duke fans are going to look over at North Carolina and see the success that Hubert Davis is having right now with the Tar Heels in his first season and expect Jon Scheyer to take that team to a national championship. I think they should taper their expectations because just see what he's like as a coach. You know, to go from a legend to a rookie head coach, that's a tough transition. And I just don't think Duke fans should just be like, oh, it's national championship or bust next season for them. They should definitely have some sort of like reasonable expectations. I'm not saying that Duke is not going to win it next year. I think Duke is definitely going to potentially have a shot to be great next season, but just keep the expectations at a reasonable spot for Jon Scheyer.
Yeah, like here's my expectations for Jon Scheyer in his first year. I mean, as much as I want Duke to win another national championship, I think you gotta like say this. Duke makes it to the national champion, not the national championship game. I think they're going to be in the NCAA. They're going to be back in the NCAA tournament next year, but I would say maybe go to the Sweet 16, and that's a good start for Jon Scheyer.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sweet 16, Elite 8 would be great because when you look at Duke, they have the talent. They have like a lot of great talent coming in. So it's not like Duke's going to fall off. I think Duke will be just fine, but I just don't think that fans should expect national championship in his first season. I think that would just be foolish for fans to expect a national title in his first year.
Yeah, you're probably going to favor guys like if Kansas wins it on Monday, you could favor them repeating. Michigan State is due. They're long overdue to win one. I think Tom Izzo's wanting to get another trophy in his hands.
Yeah, I think, you know, definitely Kansas and Michigan State would probably be your favorites.
Or Kentucky.
Kentucky, I don't know about Kentucky. Kentucky always chokes when it matters the most. It seems like every single year, them and Gonzaga have this knack for choking. Like they have great talent, but they just have that knack for choking in the big spot. A team that, you know, Loro, I really think that everybody out there should not underlook is Michigan, because Juwan Howard's going to have another top recruiting class coming in. He's got a lot of guys from his last year's top recruiting class staying at Michigan. They have a chance to build something special. I mean, they went last year or this past season, and they went to the Sweet 16 when they were an 11th seed. So with more talent coming in, I definitely could see it.
Anyways, John Hammond has a comment for us. He thinks the Kansas Jayhawks is going to beat North Carolina on Monday. I'm going to say this, John. That is my pick to win the college basketball national championship game. But like Isaiah said, you're going to save your prediction for tomorrow about who's going to win the national championship game.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil my national championship prediction. I'm just gonna save it for tomorrow. If you want to know my prediction, tune in tomorrow to the night shift with myself and Loro, and I'll give you it then, because I mean, we're just coming off two great games, and I don't want to make a prediction, an emotional prediction right off just two incredible basketball games.
Yeah, those are incredible games here, Isaiah. But before we get to the other comments here, talks a little bit of football. My Patriots today, Isaiah, made a trade to get Devontae Parker to give Mac Jones a number one receiver. So basically, there was no room for Devontae Parker with the Miami Dolphins. Now the Dolphins receiver room is set with Tyreek Hill, Cedric Wilson, and Jalen Waddle. Now Devontae Parker is the odd man out. And what do you think about his fit with the New England Patriots?
I think it was an interesting trade because you don't see these AFC East rivals typically trade with each other. So that's kind of what shocked me. But I think Devontae Parker I think it's a decent addition for the Patriots. I'm not going to say it's an out-of-the-world addition like the Tyreek Hill trade to the Dolphins. I think it's a decent addition. It helps them fill a spot for sure. But, Devontae Parker the last couple of years have been limited by injuries. So how many games is he even going to play for the New England Patriots? Can he even stay healthy and stay on the field for the entire 17-game season? If he could, then I think it's a nice pickup for the Patriots, but it really depends on the health of Devontae Parker. It depends on his health. The Patriots didn't pay that big of a price to get him. They paid a reasonable price to land him. I think it would be a nice piece for Mac Jones to throw the football to, but you still, I think, need that number one receiver because Devontae Adams, he's not that number one. He's probably.
Are you talking about Parker, not Adams?
Yeah, Devontae Parker. That's right. Devontae Parker is not a number one. He's more of a number two or a number three. And in New England, you have a lot of number two and number three receivers scrunched together, like your Nelson Aguilars and the other guys, Kendrick Bournes of the world, and now.
If you look at it this way, I think that Kendrick Bourne is a lock to be a starter on the Patriots at receiver. I think that Aguilar and N'Keal Harry are probably gone.
I think N'Keal Harry is definitely gone. I would keep Aguilar just because I think Aguilar is a guy that can go deep. And I think right now in the NFL, you definitely need that deep threat because if you keep a lot more receivers in the middle of the field, then the defense is just going to tighten its grip because it's in the middle of the field. But if you can have a guy that spreads the ball or have a guy that goes deep, it definitely lengthens the defense a bit.
Yeah, I want to get that out there. There'll be more NFL topics to be talked about later today, but Justin has this comment here, and he wants to know our thoughts on the Lakers. Can they make a playoffs, guys? But I saw LeBron James's comment today saying that he thinks the Lakers can go 5-0, and I'm like, good luck with that, LeBron James. That is not going to happen. You have a tough schedule down the road. You got Denver tomorrow, and Denver is no easy task to beat.
The Lakers are done. The Lakers, I've already given up on the season. The Lakers have 2 games against Denver coming up. They got 2 games against Denver. They got the Suns. They got the Warriors. You can't even beat bad teams. How on earth are you going to come out here and go 5-0 against 3 teams that are 3 of the toughest teams in the Western Conference? And then you also need the Spurs to basically lose twice because right now the Spurs are against they have they're up 2 a game.
No, here's the thing, Isaiah. The Spurs schedule is way easier than the Lakers schedule down the stretch.
Exactly. The Spurs schedule is way easier down the stretch than the Lakers. The Spurs are up 1 game, but it's basically 2 with the tiebreaker. The Lakers have to go 5-0 just to even have a shot at potentially making the play-in tournament. And if I'm the Lakers right now, I would. And I think this might sound blasphemous, but I really think that the Lakers should just tank at this point because you're not going to go 5-0. Let's face that. The Suns have been killing us all season long. The Warriors, we've been playing them tough, but it's still 50-50. The Nuggets have been killing us as well. You're not going to go 5-0. There's no way you're going 5-0. You might go like 2-3 or 1-4 in that stretch. And when you look at the Lakers, Memphis owns the Lakers pick for the upcoming NBA draft, but it's top 10 protected. So that means that the Lakers finish in the top 10 of the lottery, they will get that pick, and Memphis will get 2 second-round picks. Right now, LA is slotted currently to be number 7 in the lottery. So if you just continue to lose games, you most likely will keep that pick since it won't fall out of the top 10.
Thinking that if the Lakers since the Lakers are probably going to have the Grizzlies pick at 7, I'm kind of thinking I would use that pick on a guard, on a shooting guard or point guard or something like that. But I prefer shooting guard just because I want an elite shooter.
I honestly would trade that pick. I would try to trade that pick. Maybe you can get rid of Westbrook and get someone else, get another star in return. Because if you get like the 7th or 6th pick, that might be good enough to land either not another star, not a superstar for sure, but an all-star player, or maybe you can work something out with Washington. Westbrook plus number 6 or 7 potentially for Bradley Beal, because he's on a 1-year deal. I mean, the 6th pick would probably be the best you can get for a Bradley Beal, and he definitely could fit right in. But
so you're saying is, Isaiah, so the Grizzlies have a top 10 protected pick. So if the Lakers finish where they are now, the Lakers own the Grizzlies pick.
Yeah, but it depends on the lottery. It depends on the lottery. If the Lakers land number 1 through 10, they get that pick. Like, they get to keep their own pick because that pick was sent out to Memphis in some trade that I forget. But no, it was sent out to New Orleans, and New Orleans sent it somewhere to Memphis. But it's so complicated. Good grief. But if the Lakers get that, if LA's pick lands in like the 1 through 10 range, then LA will keep it, and Memphis would, I believe, get 2 second-round picks from New Orleans instead. So if you want to keep that pick and make your offseason more better and more flexible, you might as well just tank because, let's face it, if the Lakers even make the play-in, they're probably not even going to beat New Orleans.
They're not going to beat New Orleans. I don't even see that. I think San Antonio is going to end up playing New Orleans in the play-in tournament. But if you take a look at the Western Conference standings, I have it in front of me. I got Phoenix already clinched the Western Conference. They have nothing to play for now. Memphis is already closing in on the number 2 seed. Golden State with a huge win over the Utah Jazz. They get the number 3 seed. Dallas, will they get number 4? I could see that because I think that they are playing pretty good basketball right now. And then Utah's 5th, Denver's 6th, Minnesota 7th. The Clippers already got a spot in the play-in tournament with the Pelicans 9th. San Antonio 10th with the Lakers a half game back. And Sacramento is still alive, Isaiah. Who's more do you think both the Lakers and Kings are done at this point?
Yeah, I think for sure they are. And it's a damn shame because you got Westbrook, you got AD, you got LeBron, and you're not going to make the playoff. You're not even going to make the play-in. That's how embarrassing of a season this year. And when you look at it, the Lakers could easily finish with 50 losses. Because if they go 1-4 in their final 5 games, they're going to finish with 50 losses. Because right now they have 46 losses. So it's just been a total disaster.
Yeah, it has been a total disaster for the Lakers, but basically, if you look at it now, almost everybody in the Eastern Conference has clinched playoff spots. So basically, everybody with the Washington Wizards, the New York Knicks, the Indiana Pacers, and the Detroit Pistons, and the Orlando Magic, they are done from playoff contention, with the Hornets and the Nets already clinching spots to play in the play-in tournament. So spots are to be determined, but I'm kind of thinking that who's going to get home court advantage in that 9-10 game in the Eastern Conference play-in? Is it more likely Brooklyn or more likely Charlotte?
More likely Brooklyn. Brooklyn is a more talented team. I think that Charlotte. I like LaMelo Ball, but I just think that, I mean, dude, you're talking about Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and Ben Simmons,
and even if Ben Simmons plays. Yeah. So, anyways, with that being said, here we'll talk about So John Hammond also wants to point out here, and he says, hi, guys. Can we talk about tons of baseball winning over in San Diego today? So, John, I know you might be a Padre fan, and I'll tell you that the Dodgers, I think the Dodgers, they're my pick to win the National League West when we do our MLB Palooza on Wednesday.
I think he's talking about college baseball. I think he's talking about the San Francisco Dons beating the University.
I'm sorry. I thought it was pro baseball when he did San Diego. So I don't have any comment on it. I don't really watch like college baseball, but the only baseball I watch is professional baseball. John, what are your thoughts on this comment right here?
My thoughts is, I think it was a good win. I didn't watch the game personally. I was watching the Final Four instead. But good for. I think both teams will be okay. It's still early in the U.S. In the NCAA baseball season. They'll be fine.
Anyways, Justin Bosman wants to know thoughts on the upcoming MLB baseball season. So I'm going to say this, Justin. My favorite to win the World Series is the Dodgers, but not only that, I think they're going to win the NL West. I think the NL West is going to be a really tough division. It's the wild West. I'm looking forward to a great season. And Isaiah, I know that you have a little bit of mixed feelings about your teams heading into this season. One team you're confident in is the Philadelphia Phillies. The other is that you're not confident in is the Oakland Athletics, even though I saw your Facebook post today that you want the Oakland A's to win the division, and I don't think it's going to happen, man. With all the moves that they made to trade Matt Olson and Matt Chapman, I don't see it.
Well, Justin, if you can expand on, your question, like what do you want us to talk about? Like, do you want us to, give our bold predictions for the season or just if I have to give my thoughts on the upcoming baseball season, I'm excited because, I thought that we for sure wasn't going to get a full 162 game season just because of the lockout and the bitter negotiations in 2020 when they were trying to restart the season and all of that stuff. So I'm grateful that we have a season and 162 games, and it's going to be exciting. I can't wait. There's a lot of new players there's a lot of new players in different teams. I think that when you look at it, I think that the NL East and also the AL East, I think will probably be an absolute bloodbath this season when it comes to those divisions, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out. I think we could honestly see 3 teams from the NL East, 3 teams from the AL East make the playoffs this season in the respective leagues.
Yeah, and then he also expanded on this. He said bold predictions for the MLB season. I'm going to say one of my bold predictions is that the Toronto Blue Jays overtake the Tampa Bay Rays in the AL East because they had a great offseason prior to the lockout, signing Jose Barrios to an extension. This team has high expectations, and I think the Toronto Blue Jays are ready to take off this season.
Loro, get your what Jeff ready because I got a super bold prediction. And the super bold prediction that I have is Nick Castellanos will hit 50 home runs for the Philadelphia. Because when you look at it, he's got the pop. And he was amazing in Cincinnati last year. He was great in Chicago. He was great in Detroit. He's just been one of the most excellent hitters in all of baseball. And you look at left field in Philadelphia, that short porch in left field, the walls are moved up. The Citizens Bank Park is one of the most hitter-friendly ballparks in baseball. And he's a guy that has a lot of power. He can hit to all sides of the field. And that's in that small ballpark with his power and in that division with all the pitcher or the hitter-friendly ballparks in that division, Nick Castellanos is going to rake this season for the Philadelphia Phillies.
I could see where you're going with Nick Castellanos. He has the power to hit 50 or 60 home runs. In that ballpark, that is a great ballpark to hit 50 home runs in. You got Kyle Schwarber, too, who I think is going to be a 40 home run guy now that you have him. You have guys that could be 40 or 30 home run type of guys, especially Bryce Harper, who's your cleanup hitter. Then you get Kyle Schwarber, who I think is going to be raking at that ballpark. I think the Phillies lineup is stacked. It's going to be ready to go. That offensive display is going to be great night in and night out. My only question for the Philadelphia Phillies is is the starting pitching going to perform this year? Is it going to live up to expectations? Is the bullpen of the Philadelphia Phillies going to finally show up?
And that's the question that is going to just linger around the Phillies. Is that bullpen going to show up? Because they have the offense. They got the starting pitching with Nola, with Wheeler, with Eflin coming back. Also, watch out for Ranger Suarez, who's one of the most underrated and unknown guys that the national media really doesn't know about. He's a tremendous pitcher. They have the starting pitching. They have the offense. They have the leadership with Girardi and his coaching staff. All that's missing is an excellent bullpen, and I was really pissed off that they didn't go out and get Craig Kimbrel because the Dodgers only paid A.J. Pollock for Craig Kimbrel. Are you really telling me that you really need an established closer? You could not go out and get Craig Kimbrel and only give up like what the Dodgers give up and match what the Dodgers give up, and that was A.J. Pollock. Like, I don't understand what Dave Dombrowski and Cole was doing. I thought Kimbrel would have been a tremendous fit in Philadelphia.
And speaking of your Phillies, you talked about this yesterday. Is Alec Baum likely your starting third baseman?
We don't know because it's gonna be to be determined probably until the final couple of days of spring training, which is gonna go down most likely in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, the Philadelphia Phillies, I think they're in a really good division, and I think that this Phillies team, this team is ready. This team, I think, can keep up with the Mets and also keep up with the Braves. But look, we got to talk about the Mets here, Isaiah, because now that DeGrom's going to be sidelined indefinitely, I kind of think the Mets could be fine without him. But Jacob DeGrom is the ace, but you got Max Scherzer and Chris Bassett. I think they're going to carry the load in the rotation, though. I kind of expect that.
I feel bad for the Mets because it seems like every year they get their hopes up and then their hopes come crashing down. I mean, this is one of the most talented Mets teams we've seen in the last couple of years. So when you look at the Mets, I think they have the depth, but it's still tough losing DeGrom for a long stretch of the season, as well as Scherzer, who most likely right now might not pitch opening day.
We'll see. I think he might pitch opening day, but if it's not Max Scherzer, it could be Chris Bassett that starts opening day. Then you go with Scherzer.
Yeah, you could do that. You could definitely do that for sure.
Because I'm kind of thinking that they might push Scherzer's start a day back, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Because I think the Mets rotation will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have the depth, they have the talent in that. But I do think that the Mets offense is going to be good here. But the next one is bold predictions for AL and MVP and who wins the divisions. Mm-hmm. Justin wants to know that. So, Justin, to answer your first question, my AL MVP pick, I'm sticking with Mike Trout. I don't have any bold predictions on it just because I think Mike Trout needs to get another MVP title to his trophy case. I pick him as my AL MVP. I think my NL MVP is Mookie Betts.
I'm actually going to go kind of bold with my AL MVP. I don't know if he's won an AL MVP before. I haven't checked, but I'm actually going to go with Aaron Judge of the Yankees because when you look at Aaron Judge, he's 29 years of age. It's his contract year. He needs to have a big-time season and stay on the field to avoid to get that contract that he wants. And I think that, he's finally healthy. He was healthy for basically majority of the second half last year, and he really showed tremendous power. And he's just been putting on a show in spring training, hitting home run after home run in spring training, and he's been lighting it up. And I really think that Judge is finally going to stay healthy. He's finally going to come in and prove to the Yankees that they should give him that big-time contract that he wants from the New York Yankees.
Yeah, and then my NL MVP, I picked Mookie Betts because since he won an AL MVP with the Red Sox in 2018, I could see him doing it with the Dodgers in 2022.
NL MVP. Wow.
Last year it was your boy Bryce Harper.
Yeah, it was Bryce Harper. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Dodger Loro, but I'm not gonna go with Mookie Betts. I'm gonna go with Freddie Freeman. I think that Freddie
Good
Freeman
choice.
hitting in the middle of that lineup with excellent protection both ahead of him and also behind him, with guys that can get on base, guys that have power both behind him and also ahead of him. He's going to be able to drive in a lot of runs. And with that Dodger team, with how stacked they are, I really expect Freddie Freeman. I would not be shocked, honestly, if Freddie Freeman goes over 120 RBIs for the Dodgers in his first year.
He probably will. I think he's that talented of a player here. But now we'll talk about who's going to win the divisions. I'm going to go first with the NL West here. I picked the Dodgers to win the National League West because this team is loaded with talent, and I think that the Giants are good, but they're going to take a bit of a step back, I think. And I also think that the Padres will be good. I think Bob Melvin's going to do a great job in his first year stabilizing the Padres. And I think that this is going to be a tough task for him to not have Fernando Tatis in the first 3 months. But I think the Padres can find a way to win you ball games in the beginning of the season as long as you have Manny Machado in your lineup healthy. If Eric Hosmer could step up his game, and what if the Padres get Brian Reynolds? That is going to make their lineup really, really scary. And then the Giants, I still think they're going to be very good. And I think Colorado and Arizona, you don't expect much from them. What about you, Isaiah? Your NL West pick is?
Let's skip that question and save the division picks for the baseball preview show, because we're doing the batter up preview show on next week, Wednesday.
Wednesday night.
Yep, Wednesday night. So we want to surprise the folks with our predictions then. We don't want to just, spill the beans and let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, let's not get the car running to the bag. So Justin wants to know this. Does Scotty Barnes win NBA Rookie of the Year when Evan Mobley's hurt, guys? That's a very good question. I had Cade Cunningham. I'm actually going to stick with my Cade Cunningham choice to win the NBA's Rookie of the Year award.
I still think Mobley gets it, even though he's hurt, because we saw LaMelo Ball last year. LaMelo Ball was outstanding. He was leading it, and then he got hurt, and then Edwards came along and just blasted the competition away. But when you look at right now what history says, it's the best player from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, and right now Mobley's been that from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Plus the Cavs are in the playoffs, which nobody expected, or not a lot of people expected before the season. So I still think Mobley gets it. I think Barnes is a really strong contender. But I just think Mobley's track record, his resume from the beginning of the season to when he got hurt, he's been solid. He's been one of the biggest difference makers on this Cleveland Cavaliers team.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they have been they've been a difference maker on that. That's for sure here. But anyways, Justin wants to know this. Do you think we want to save this question for Wednesday? Which MLB team will be the worst team in baseball this year, guys? An early prediction for that?
You know what? Let's give them a sneak preview. Let's do this question, and we give them a sneak preview of our preview show, which is coming on Wednesday night.
So I think the best team in baseball, I think, is going to be the Dodgers because of the depth that they have. I think they're not only going to be the best team in baseball, I think they're going to be the favorites to win the World Series. I think they're going to win it all this year with the roster that they have. I think the worst team in baseball, I think it's going to be both the Diamondbacks and the Orioles.
I see why you went that route, Loro. I see why you went that route. I don't think Arizona will be as bad as everybody thinks. I think they will still be bad, but I don't think they will be like bad like they did last year. For me, I think there's two teams that are going to be really bad. Obviously, Baltimore is going to be really bad. So I think Baltimore will probably If I have the worst team, I know Baltimore is going to be really, really bad, but you know, I really want to say this, and it's really going to hurt me to say this because I work for them, but I could see the A's being one of the worst teams because Mania and Montas, if you don't get off to a good start to start the year, they're probably gone at the deadline or even before that. Who knows what happens to Murphy? Laureano might be gone. You have Stephen Vogt and you have Jet Lowry, but when you look at everybody else, you have Tony Kemp, but it's like a lot of just rookies and a lot of minor leaguers that just haven't played a lot in the majors. So I hope the A's are not the worst team in baseball because I really don't want to stand at the Coliseum and watch them lose 100+ games. But I think that right now you got to go with the Baltimore Orioles, and you probably got to go with Colorado as well because I think Colorado is going to be bad because they lost John Gray. They already did not have pitching before they lost John Gray. Now you go out and lose John Gray to Texas. You don't bring him back. For some reason, you decide to bring in Chris Bryant, which makes no sense whatsoever. So I think Colorado. For me, it's Colorado. I'm going to go Colorado as the worst team in baseball because they're in that division with San Diego, with LA, with the Giants as well. I think Colorado definitely they'll be really bad this season.
They might be really bad, Isaiah, but I don't think that they'll be that bad just because adding Chris Bryant to the lineup, I think if you look at it, Isaiah, I think Chris Bryant is going to be a difference maker in the lineup. You still have Charlie Blackmon. The Rockies still have a legitimate shot at being pretty good, but the reason why I have Arizona being bad again is because they don't have anybody except for Ketel Marte and David Peralta. So, anyways, Justin's next question is, who's your favorite to win the MVP of the NBA? I picked Russell Westbrook to begin the season, but that's not going to happen. I'm going to pick right now who I think should be the MVP right now in the NBA MVP. I'm going to say that the reason why this team is there because of Karl Anthony Towns. I think Karl Anthony Towns should win the NBA's most valuable player award because Minnesota's for real, and they're finally clicking and building this team around Karl Anthony Towns.
My MVP pick, there's a lot of guys that are definitely well-deserving, but I'm going to go with a guy that right now he's got his team as the best team in the NBA, and he's the best player on his basketball team, and that's Devin Booker. I don't know why Devin Booker is not getting any love for MVP. This dude is literally the best player on the best team in the NBA. He's putting up numbers, so many 30, 40-point, 50-point games. I know people are going to go look at the plus-minus stuff, but, I mean, the guy is putting up numbers. The guy is winning games. The guy is the best player on the best team in the NBA. How can you not give it to him? The only reason I can see you not giving it to him is because he's not in a big market, and that's just a damn shame that he gets snubbed MVP because of that. It makes no sense.
He probably should be in the running for MVP along with Karl Anthony Towns and Giannis.
Don't forget about Jason Tatum too, because he's been going on a red hot streak the last 3-4 months.
And Justin wants to know who's the NBA Rookie of the Year this year. I'm going to still say it's Cade Cunningham for some reason. I think even though he got off to a slow start, he has shown improvement as the season went on.
I still think it's Mobley. Watch out for Franz Wagner, though, because he's played in basically all the Magic's games except for, I think, 1 or 2, and he has put up at least 22 points per game on an average basis.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this rookie class is okay, but I'm interested to see what next year's rookie class is. Where will Pablo Brancharo will go? Who's going to be the number 1 pick? I'm kind of seeing it right now in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I think a lot of the NCAA tournament guys are definitely lighting it up. There's still a lot of time before the draft, so we'll definitely talk about that, once the draft gets closer and closer, because right now we're about 3-4 months away from the NBA draft, so we still have a lot of time to analyze that for sure.
Anyways, let's talk about. I'm going to throw in a hot take here. I could see 3 rookie quarterbacks in this draft class starting week 1, and those 3 are Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, and Matt Corral. What are your thoughts on that take?
I don't think it's that bad of a take. I think it's a reasonable take. I think that when you look at it, I think Pickett, I could see him starting. I don't know if he starts right away. Wills, I heard the Seahawks really like him. I don't know if he starts right away though, because I know Seattle really they love Drew Lock. And I think also the other guys that you really that I could see Matt Corral, I don't know. I think Matt Corral, do not be shocked that Matt Corral falls out of the first round, because I've heard a lot of rumors that he's not had that great of a combine. He's not had that great of a pro day. So his stock is trending down. And this is now a bad time to have your stock trending down. You do not want to have your stock trending down when we are about a couple of weeks away from the 2022 NFL draft. You want to have your stock rising at this moment. You do not want to have your stock going down.
I want to tell you something here. I think that in my mock draft right now, I'm not going to reveal everything now. I picture Kenny Pickett with the Carolina Panthers, and I could picture him beating Sam Darnold for the starting job.
I think that's where I have him actually going to. I think that the Panthers need a quarterback. They struck out on all their top guys that they wanted. Kenny Pickett right now is the most ready quarterback out of this draft. And when you look at it, the Panthers need a win right now. Matt Ruse cannot afford to take a chance on a guy that is a project.
Yeah, you cannot. He needs to start. He needs to start Kenny Pickett. Do you agree with him? If Kenny Pickett's a Panther, you think he's going to beat Sam Darnold for the starting job?
I think he has to. He has to, because you already saw what happened with Sam Darnold. There's no way whatsoever that you start Sam Darnold. If you start Sam Darnold, Matt Ruse should be fired before opening day.
And then talk about Matt Corral. I have him going to the Falcons at 8. And you have one Matt to another Matt. I think Matt Corral beats out Marcus Mariota for the starting job in Atlanta.
I don't think the Falcons go quarterback. I think they're waiting for next year's run or next year's draft class to get their franchise quarterback there. Because remember, we have Bryce Young, we have C.J. Stroud. We potentially could have, Keaton Slovis from Pitt. We could have other quarterbacks, J.T. Daniels. There's a lot of great quarterbacks that are coming out next year. And I just think that I really think that when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, I think they're going to wait. I don't think they want to take a quarterback now, because you don't take a quarterback now in this weak draft class if you're not really sure that they are going to be a franchise quarterback. If I were them, if you're not sure, just wait until next year.
And what about Malik Willis to the Seahawks? I have him going to Seattle, and not only that, I have him beating out Drew Lock for the starting job, because I do not believe in Drew Lock as a starting quarterback.
Loro, I hate to burst your bubble, but I don't see it, because I just think Seattle's, for some reason, so committed to Drew Lock. They really love Drew Lock. It boggles my mind. I don't know why that they love Drew Lock. I personally am a fan of Drew Lock. I think if he can go to the right system, I think he can have success. But it just seems like Seattle really loves Drew Lock.
If it's not Seattle for Malik Willis, I have him going to Pittsburgh.
I think that could also be another fit. Well, we shall see. But I'm looking at a lot of these questions right now. I think this is an interesting one from Justin. Where do you Colin Kaepernick worked out for NFL teams today at the Michigan Spring game? Do you think he gets a shot to start or be a backup?
I don't think anybody wants Colin Kaepernick right now because of his view on politics and all that. He shouldn't even be playing in the NFL anymore because of this.
he hasn't even played in 4 years. So I don't know how good he's even going to be. So that's the thing. I think if Jim Harbaugh was an NFL head coach today, I think Colin Kaepernick definitely would have been signed. But there's another spot. We were talking about the Seahawks earlier. Watch out for Seattle for Colin Kaepernick, because Pete Carroll tried him out a couple of times when he was unsigned. Kaepernick reached out to Pete Carroll. It could work in Seattle, especially if your trust in Drew Lock is waning.
Yeah, if you don't draft a quarterback at 9 for Seattle, you go receiver to give Drew Lock a receiver.
Yeah, you go receiver, or you could go offensive line, because you need that protection, and you got Lockett and Metcalf right now as your top weapons there in Seattle.
Justin wants to know, does Tom Brady go to the Miami Dolphins? Justin, I said this many times. I'm putting these rumors to bed because I have a lot of confidence in Tua Tagovailoa as the Dolphins quarterback of the future. I know that John Alcorn and those people have ripped on me on Tua, but I have a lot of confidence in Tua, and I think that with the receivers that the Dolphins got for him and how the team invested in Tua, and getting Tyreek Hill, Cedric Wilson, and then you have Jalen Waddle in the slot, I expect big things from the Miami Dolphins this year. And I'm putting the Tom Brady to the Miami Dolphins to bed. Tom Brady is going to be a Tampa Bay Buck, and expect Tom Brady to be the starting quarterback in Week 1 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, I just don't think Miami makes sense. If he's going to leave Tampa Bay, if he's going to get shockingly traded, like we've seen so many players do this offseason, because it's been like one of the most shocking off seasons in the NFL, he's going to go to San Francisco, because that's where he grew up. That's where he started rooting for, who he started rooting for as a kid. If he's leaving Tampa, there's only one place that he's going to, and that is San Francisco. It just doesn't make sense he's going to go to Miami. Like, that's such a weird fit. That's like Brett Favre going to the New York Jets. There's no way that he's going to Miami. I agree with you. I'm putting that to bed as well.
Yeah, because I even though that now that the Dolphins traded away Tyreek Hill, I meant Devontae Parker, do you think the Dolphins right now are still ahead of the New England Patriots for second place?
I think so. I think that right now it's Buffalo and Miami's division, because I think all the weapons they got, Mike McDaniel, his creative mind, how he's going to utilize Tyreek Hill over going from left to right. You have Jalen Waddle coming from left to right. That's a lot of speed right there. Plus you have Gesicki. Plus you have Wilson, who's a big slot receiver. Plus you have a lot of guys, on that wide receiving corps, and you added Terron Armstead to protect Tua. That offense is just going to be so fun and so fascinating to watch this upcoming year, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see how that offense performs this upcoming season.
Say, for example, if the Dolphins start with New England and Buffalo weeks 1 and 2, I think they go 0-2 to start the season. And then I think that if they play the Jets week 3, they go 1-2. And then if they play Baltimore, then they're going to be in for a tough test. Make them go 2-2 after they lose the first 2 games of the season.
That Buffalo-Miami game, if that happens, is going to be amazing, because I think it's going to definitely be a shootout between these two teams. The Patriots, it's tough because I'm kind of wanting another Patriots Dolphins week 1 matchup, just because I love Mac and Tua. I think them going head to head in week 1 would be fun. And wouldn't it be funny that a young head coach and Mike McDaniel, like if the Dolphins were to win, he gets his first career win against Bill Belichick? Yeah, I think that would for sure be interesting. I think, when you look at McDaniel, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think Mike McDaniel is going to be a great coach for the Dolphins. I think he has all the qualities to make a offense look good. I think he's going to do a great job with that offense. Even though you said, Isaiah, he has a raw type personality.
Yeah, he does have he's definitely raw for sure. And I don't know. I hope you're right. Because if he has success, then, I'd definitely be happy for him. But
I'm also looking forward to seeing him and Robert Saleh go head to head.
Yeah, Yeah, both Niners assistants going at it. That should be fun
when
for
it's
sure.
the Dolphins and the Jets. But Justin Bosman wants to know, like, where will Julio Jones go? It's not the Titans. He should go to a team that I think needs a receiver. I don't think, not Miami, not New England. I would say maybe the Eagles. Reunite him with Devontae Adams and have him be a mentor to Jalen Hurts.
Didn't Devontae Adams go to the Raiders?
He did go to the Raiders.
For me, you can book this right now. He's coming to the Niners, man. It's not even me being delusional or being biased because the fit of Kyle Shanahan. Julio Jones had his best season of his career under Kyle Shanahan. He became a star under Kyle Shanahan. It just makes too much sense for it not to happen. I know that. I know that when you look at Julio Jones, right? When you look at Julio Jones, he's getting older. He's injury prone. There's not really any team that's going to go out and sign him to a big time contract. So the fit with San Francisco just makes too much sense. Plus, at this stage of his career, he wants to play for a winning team and chase a championship. He doesn't want to go to like the Jaguars, for example, or the Jets and have to suffer through like a lot of losses. So I think San Francisco makes way, way, way too much sense for it to not happen.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, that definitely does make sense for Julio Jones to be a Niner. I could see where you're going with it because I think that Julio Jones can really resurrect his career in San Francisco. But my thoughts on the Team USA men's soccer making the World Cup. I think the U.S. women's soccer team is better, but I just don't see USA going all the way. I think that there's a lot of better teams in the men's World Cup.
I was surprised because I didn't follow the U.S. men's World Cup run. I just thought that they were just plain garbage because the last like two Olympic or the two World Cup runs, they've just been garbage. They couldn't even beat what's that team's name? I forgot. Like they got their coach fired, but I really think that it's good. It's a good turning point for Team USA. I'm glad that they're having success. Is Team USA going to win the World Cup? Probably not, because there's a lot of great teams out there like Brazil, like Italy, with Ronaldo, like Mexico as well, Germany with Messi. I just really think that there's way too much teams out there for US to beat, and I think that when you look at Team USA, I think they'll probably win one or two games, and then they probably get bounced out.
Yeah, probably one or two games here. And Justin says that on Thanksgiving, the World Cup ratings will be better than the football Thanksgiving ratings. I think the NFL Thanksgiving ratings is better than World Cup ratings. I'm not watching World Cup on Thanksgiving because the purpose for me to watch which sport I watch on Thanksgiving Day is the NFL. And I'm kind of
I'm confused. I'm confused right now because isn't the World Cup in like July?
It's not. It's in December this year because it's in Qatar. The World Cup's in Qatar.
That's right. It's in Qatar. So, in the U.S., I can guarantee you that the World Cup ratings will probably not be higher than the NFL Thanksgiving ratings because you live in America. American football reigns supreme in the United States. If he was talking about like every other country in the world, then he has a point because like China, Japan, Korea, Germany, Italy, Brazil, people take off just to watch soccer. So I could definitely see it there. But in America, NFL football is still going to reign supreme, unfortunately.
Anyway, speaking of Thanksgiving, I have some hot takes for you, Isaiah. Here's kind of like my first two Thanksgiving game predictions for the NFL. I got the Dolphins and the Lions as the first game on Thanksgiving. The second game is Buccaneers, Cowboys, Brady versus Prescott in Big D. And then the third would be Rams and Chiefs.
That would be an amazing Thanksgiving Day slate, honestly, because
I want that badly because it's when you start your day with Dolphins and Lions. Whoo, man. I would want to see the Dolphins blow out the Lions because the Lions are not going to. The Lions, to me, are still a rebuilding project.
I think. I mean, I don't see the Dolphins, honestly. I think it's gonna be like Bears and Lions because it just seems like every year it's Bears and Lions or Vikings and Lions that are always on Thanksgiving. And then yeah, Cowboys and Buccaneers. I that would be an amazing second game for sure. But it would be an intriguing matchup. But I do not be surprised though if the late game is Rams and Chiefs. I think would be amazing, but I think it also could be 49ers and Rams because rematch of the NFC Championship game, the rivalry getting heated up on Thanksgiving. They've had it before a couple of times, so I think that also could be a possibility.
Yeah, the reason why I say that because I picked Cowboys Bucks is because that Cowboys play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year, but they get to play the Buccaneers at home this year.
Watch out for that to open the season, actually, because Brady and the Bucks against Prescott and the Cowboys on Sunday afternoon primetime football.
You mean America's Game of the Week instead of? I want that on Thanksgiving. I think that you need to give. I don't like how the schedule's set up nowadays. I kind of like the schedule to be first and last 3 games within your division, and that weeks 4 and 15 could be games that everybody's going to want to watch.
We'll see, man. We'll see. I'm not really sure.
That's kind of like my take there on that. But Justin also wants to know, will Justin Fields have a great year this year? I have a lot of confidence in Justin Fields. I think that Luke Getsy, the offense who's coming from Green Bay, gets to work with Justin Fields. Luke Getsy was great with Aaron Rodgers. I think Luke Getsy will be great with Justin Fields.
For me, this might be like a bold take, but I really don't see. I mean, I think Justin Fields will be a good player, but I don't see him having a great year. I think that he'll be okay with the Chicago Bears because I really still do not trust that Bears offensive line. You're gonna have to ask Mess Around Dave about that because he's more of a Bears aficionado than I am. But I think when you look at the Bears, they're in a really tight division. You got Green Bay, you got Minnesota coming back. They're right now the 3rd place team in that division. I think that, yeah, I know Green Bay lost Adams, but come on, man, you're not betting on against Aaron Rodgers. Minnesota's got Cousins, they got Jefferson, they got Adam Thielen as well. They'll be in the mix. They have Dalvin Cook. Plus, you got the new coach in O'Connell, who's going to implement that Ram style offense, which I really think it will play to the Vikings' strength. And Kirk Cousins actually had played under Kevin O'Connell, and he actually had career years under Kevin O'Connell. So do not be shocked if it's Minnesota and Green Bay jostling for that division.
I think it might be because, like what you said, Kevin O'Connell's bringing in that Ram style offense to the Vikings, but with the Bears. Even though you're not a Bears efficient, I think Matt Eberflus is going to be a good fit there as the head coach.
Me personally, I didn't like that hire. I thought the Bears should have won offense because, Luke Getsy, he's a good hire. He's a decent hire, but he never called plays before. Like, I don't know his track record at developing quarterbacks. He's just right now an unknown commodity. And if you had to give me Matt LaFleur, you had to give me O'Connell, you had to give me Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy, you got to take LaFleur and O'Connell all day in their teams and with their quarterbacks.
And then we got to talk about my take on the Denver Broncos. I kind of think that despite the Broncos getting Russell Wilson, I think that the Broncos and the Raiders are locked up for the 5 and 6 spots in the AFC wildcard race. I still think Kansas City's still the favorite to win the AFC West.
Loro, I got to disagree with you. I think Kansas City's run as the top dog in the AFC West is done. I think that division is just going to be way super tough. The Chiefs, Tyreek Hill's gone. Matthew is
Who
probably
the Chiefs
gone.
have? They have Juju Smith-Schuster, and they got Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah, but I don't trust any of those two guys. I really don't. I think Valdez-Scantling, he drops the ball too much. Juju Smith-Schuster, I mean, he can't really even stay on the field a lot of the time. So, and he's been inconsistent without Big Ben. So, I really don't, or without
Look,
Antonio
you got
Brown.
Mecole Hardman, though. I think Mecole Hardman is going to step up big time.
Well, they have the weapons, but they don't have the defense. You have like Frank Clark's back, Chris Jones is back. But when you look at this Chiefs defense, the secondary was an issue. The linebackers were an issue. Hitchens gets released for some reason. Sorensen is gone. Also, I believe Matthew is also going to be gone as well. So, yeah, you can score a lot of points, but can you stop anybody? And if you can't stop anybody, opposing defenses are going to stop you, and then you're going to not be able to stop the opposing team.
Yeah, you have a good point there, but is there a reason why you don't want Kansas City to win? Do I think the Chargers will be a sleeper to watch in the AFC West? I love Justin Herbert. I love me some Justin Herbert.
You mean the Chiefs or the Chargers?
Chargers. I like Brandon Staley. I think he's a great coach. I just think that the 7th spot in the AFC, it's going to be between the Dolphins, the Chargers, and the Browns.
I trust the Broncos more because of Russell Wilson, and also
Denver. I said Denver and the Raiders are going to be the 5 and 6 spots in the AFC wild card.
Well, for me, I trust the Broncos and Raiders more over the Chargers. I just cannot put the Chargers ahead of them just because I know the Chargers' record. They always choke. They've always choked.
No, I was saying that the Chargers and the Dolphins and the Browns, they're going to be fighting for that 7th spot in the AFC playoff race.
We'll see, man. We could see it for sure.
Because the AFC is so tough and all that. But Justin wants to know, what do we think about Baker Mayfield? I mean, he's in a really bad situation. The Browns couldn't even find a trade partner for him. Now that they got Deshaun Watson, he might even be the starting quarterback in Week 1 if Deshaun Watson is suspended.
They're not going to keep 2 starting caliber quarterbacks on their roster. I think Baker Mayfield doesn't even want to be in Cleveland anymore. He's definitely going to be gone. It's just when that he's going to be gone. He's going to be gone for sure. And to answer Justin's other question, which is where does Baker Mayfield go, guys? Oh, man. I think he goes to the Panthers, honestly, because I think that Matt Rule needs to win now. If he doesn't, he's getting fired. We all know that. And he has to win now. So you need that proven quarterback. You can't afford to take a chance on a rookie and have him take his lumps and his bruises.
Anyways, folks, with that being said, it's been a great open forum here, our first ever MI6 open forum on the night shift. Let's head to some final thoughts, and we have some announcements for you all coming up here. All right. So, anyways, tomorrow we have another night shift episode. We are going to be previewing the college basketball national championship game. And then on Wednesday, it's the debut of Batter Up. Looking forward to the next 2 nights of the night shift here, because night shift part 2 will be tomorrow. And my final thought is, what a great Final Four we saw. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Looking forward to the national championship game on Monday with Kansas and North Carolina. That's going to be a fun matchup. And Isaiah, what are your final thoughts before we call it for the night?
It was a great show. Thank you to everybody that tuned in tonight. It'll be awesome. I think we should do more of these open forum nights where you, the fans, get to interact with us and just ask your questions. I mean, it was so super fun. It was super relaxed, to be honest, after a long day. So thank you to everybody for tuning in and asking their questions. Thank you to Justin. Thanks to Justin asked a lot of questions. Thank you to Justin for your participation. Thank you to John Hammond. We're definitely gonna do this probably more often, maybe like Saturday nights, where you the fans can just interact with us, open forum night, and we'll answer your questions and go from there. It was definitely a lot of fun, and looking forward to doing it again, and looking forward to our brand new show, Batter Up. It's gonna be so much fun, and there's a lot of people that's gonna be joining me and Loro on the debut of Batter Up to preview the baseball season. Guys from MI6, some of the guys who's never even podcasted before, they probably are gonna join us as well. So make sure you guys tune in. We've got great guests. We've got great stuff to talk about. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to talk about the divisions, talk about preview the playoff picks, talk about the AL MVP, talk about the NL MVP, talk about the awards and all of that. Just grab your popcorn, grab your Cracker Jack, and tune in. It's going to be a great show.
Also, tune in tomorrow, Isaiah, because it's going to be the College Basketball National Championship preview show. So I think that show tomorrow is going to be just focused on that game in particular.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do that, and also we'll take your guys' questions and your guys' comments as well, like we always do. But we'll have an emphasis on that because we're going to talk about the game, and then we're going to have a lot of time pretty much to talk about a lot more stuff. So keep your comments, questions flowing in, and we will definitely, as Justin says right here, UNC versus Kansas, two blue bloods going at it. It's going to be fun on Monday night.
It's going to be great fun Monday night, so don't forget to tune into our next show. That's going to be tomorrow at 10 o'clock Pacific time, or if you want to make it 9 p.m. Pacific time, Isaiah, you can let me know after the show. And UNC and Kansas, two blue bloods. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to previewing the College Basketball National Championship game. We're also going to advertise it on our YouTube channel, Isaiah. I'm going to find a picture and put it up on our YouTube page, as we're going to keep it at 10 o'clock tomorrow. So for Isaiah Leong, James Gonzalez, our producer, along with Stephen Wang, Loro signing off for now. We'll see you tomorrow on the night shift for the College Basketball National Championship game preview. Have a great night, everyone.